Good morning. It is 9:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how you doing? I'm Chris Hand. You can find me on Twitter, True Social, Instagram, at Chris Hand on Air. Hit the follow button. I'll follow back. You can listen to the show wherever you go on the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app. You can watch us on Super Talk TV, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. You can get the podcast on Apple and Spotify. If you miss anything or want to share something with a friend, hit subscribe, hit like, rate it 5 stars, do all the things, please. I think I got everything. That was quick. Did you see what happened yesterday? Joe Biden appears to have officially endorsed Donald Trump in Pennsylvania, surrounded by firefighters. It was quite the moment. And maybe when Donald Trump said this at the debate, he was actually telling the absolute God-honest truth.
When this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. But
he hates her. He can't stand her. Well, it felt like that was on full display yesterday. If you've seen the memes, or you haven't, they're all on my Twitter account, at Chris Hand on Air. The memes are great. Somebody shopped an official Donald Trump endorsed by photo from the Trump team with Joe Biden with the Trump hat on. But Biden actually donned a MAGA hat. Not like a crisp, clean one, but like a real guy MAGA hat, like a gas station MAGA hat. That's what Biden wore yesterday, and it was fantastic. I loved every minute of it. He went full MAGA in Pennsylvania. So the first picture that leaks out is Joe Biden surrounded by, I don't know how many kids it was, maybe 20 kids, like young kids, ranging from what looked as young as 5 to as old as 16, 17. 20 kids around him. I tell you what, every single one of these kids was wearing a Trump shirt. Every single one. The energy is fantastic. And I can't believe that they let Joe Biden walk into this venue. There's a photo going around of Joe Biden looking dumbfounded, surrounded by MAGA kids. And it gives you hope for the future. It really does. But the crescendo came after the photo. That came when the firefighters essentially bullied Joe Biden into putting on a MAGA hat. This is what it sounded like.
Hell no. Put it on.
That's the firefighters yelling at him.
Put it on.
Put it on.
do it.
Biden says, I'm not going that far.
There it is.
He puts it on. The crowd cheers, but it's what immediately follows that really got me.
Hey, I'm proud of you now.
It's like bowling. It's like high school bowling.
A firefighter, I am assuming he's a firefighter. Maybe he's a retired firefighter. Older gentleman says, hey, now I'm proud of you, you old fart. What? What a timeline to be living in. Oh, my gosh. I can't believe that happened. I can't believe that happened. But it did. And I watched the video quite a few times.
I'm proud. I'll give you my presidential hat. Presidential seal on it.
You want to autograph it?
Oh, sure, I'll autograph.
Huh?
Yeah.
You remember your name?
I don't remember my name. I'm slow.
You're old part. You're an old part.
Yeah, I know, man. I'm an old guy.
You're an old part, right?
I know you would know about that.
What?
About being old.
Oh, I know.
All right.
I'm a young timer.
You know, he reminds me of the guys I grew up with. There was always one in the neighborhood.
Well, I'm going to go in one.
There you go, man. I need that hat.
So he signs one hat for this gentleman wearing a Trump hat, and then the guy takes the hat off.
Want my autograph?
Hell no.
You know my name. Come on.
I ain't going that far.
Yeah. Better do a selfie. There he goes. Hey, I'm proud of you now.
He went into a troll room. I don't know what else to describe it.
Nobody cased that room beforehand to notice the what seemed like 100 people wearing Trump gear waiting for Joe Biden to show up. Nobody went in there beforehand and thought, well, this will be fine.
Totally won't backfire or anything.
Is this another Secret Service fail? Would you consider this another Secret Service fail? You got to see the video because like it paints a picture when you see this interaction between these two and the 20 or so MAGA kids sitting in the background watching it all go down and the crowd cheering when he puts on the MAGA hat. Joe, to his credit, at first I was like, he's getting he's getting bullied. And then I started feeling bad for him. Right? To be fair, when you watch this video from this angle that I have on my Twitter account at Chris Hand on Air, he does appear to be goofing around. Like, he's got a big smile on his face.
He was a good sport.
He's laughing with these guys. He's being a good sport. So, like, I went from, wow, this is hilarious, to, oh, my gosh, this is elder abuse, to, all right, Biden's just goofing. He's being human. I know. It's hard to imagine a lizard person being a human, but here we are. You have to see this video. You have to. At Chris Hand on Air. Go check it out. I can't believe that happened yesterday. I just can't. Again, this is post-debate where Donald Trump quite literally says he hates her, by the way. You know that, right? I'll tell you a secret. He hates her.
Democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her.
He went full MAGA. The further away we get from this debate, though, the more people are declaring Donald Trump the winner. The immediate reaction was, especially from the left. Ooh, Kamala, she did great. Wow, so presidential. She won. But you hear more and more voices being like, nah, that's not really the case. One of those voices was Jake Tapper. Now, Jake Tapper carried water for the Biden administration for years. And I think he's a little bit pissed off because of how bad Joe Biden looked at that debate that he hosted. I think he's still a little bit salty. But Jake Tapper covers the debate with Trump and Harris on his show yesterday, and he goes all in on Kamala Harris. He calls her out for avoiding questions on were you better or not three and a half years ago. He calls her out on avoiding questions on the border and in avoiding questions on the hostages and the ceasefire deal.
Vice President Harris began the debate by punting the first question on the economy.
Do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid, and I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America.
It went on from there. Despite the economy being the #1 issue facing the country, the sitting vice president generally reverted to talking points about a few of her policy proposals. Even Harris allies today are saying that she needs to talk more about what she will do for Americans if elected.
Yeah, I mean, if the biggest issues, which they are the border and the economy, she didn't instill any confidence in any Americans. Nope. No way. She avoided those questions like the plague. She dodged the first question, punted, as Jake Tapper said. And then Jake also points out how she dodged questions on the border.
On the border, another vulnerable issue for Harris, she also dodged.
Would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings.
Okay, that wasn't the question.
Jeez. That might need to be a hotkey.
Okay, that wasn't the question.
That was not the question. Also, you're the only person that's prosecuted transnational gangs, the same transnational gangs that you've led into the country to take over Aurora, Colorado, right? These same gangs have also taken over a hotel in El Paso, Texas, which we'll discuss in a little while as well. I got a lot to get to on the border. But Jake Tapper also called out Kamala Harris on the hostages and the ceasefire.
When asked how she would break through the Israel-Hamas war stalemate, Harris said this.
We need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that.
Okay. But again, how?
Yeah, how? We're going to work around the clock while I'm campaigning and Joe Biden is on the beach. Don't worry, guys. It's only been a year. And you know, American citizens are getting killed over there. Don't worry. We're working around the clock. How? How, may I ask? Well, she didn't give that answer. She didn't give any answers. She danced around questions as best she could during the debate. And she filled the time with word salad and platitudes. So that was nice. Now, Brian Wilson, we have during our debate coverage, Brian said, you know, CNN's turning over a new leaf and they're trying to be more down the middle. And I agree with that to a certain extent. But I think that Jake Tapper here has more of a personal vendetta against the Biden-Harris administration. When you hear him say this,
okay, that wasn't the question,
and just absolutely blast Harris for her debate performance, it feels personal. Does it feel a little personal to you? It doesn't feel fair and biased down the middle. It feels personal, and I'm here for it. This is the kind of stuff I like. Jake, if you want to vote for Donald Trump, we'll welcome you into the fold. Absolutely. 100%. Another media analyst by the name of Hugh Hewitt, this is on Fox Business, he called out what they didn't ask about at the debate to Kamala Harris. And one of the points he makes is actually so on point. I couldn't believe that I didn't think of it myself. This guy's he's very smart, but the way he calls out the lack of questions about China on ABC is so good.
The vice president did not answer one question, nor did ABC, which is owned by Disney, ask one question about China. Not one question. I was thinking of their theme parks, their merchandising. Yep. I thinking about the NBA. I didn't talk about China.
Wow. If you put it in that lens, the lack of questions about China actually makes a lot of sense. ABC, Walt Disney, theme parks, market share in China. You got billions of people in China. So you don't want to lose that audience. Can't go asking hard questions about China, can you? Which leads us to an interesting area. Should ABC have even hosted the debate? Can ABC be impartial given how much money they make overseas? Listen, I thought this guy was just on point.
Not one question about Iran. They did not bring up our hostage who was executed along with 5 others in Israel on the 10/7. I am so amazed at the unprofessionalism and the deeply disrespectful of America, as Katie mentioned, performance by ABC. I think by the weekend, Trump may have won this. It's a moving river of opinion that gathers force.
It's a moving river of opinion that gathers force. And it's gathering momentum for Trump. I mentioned on the Gang of Three Amigos that Kamala Harris's team, they pinned the entire debate on their account on Twitter. The whole 90 plus minutes of it. Donald Trump's team, they edit the highlights down. And what's going to live forever on the internet is those highlights. The Trump team is just far and above better than anything the Kamala Harris team can do online. And I'm going to bring you that example of them editing down the highlights into such a concise manner, so digestible, so easy for people to take in. It's just something that the left can't do. They just can't do it. I'll play that for you next. It's 9:21 on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer, You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
The U.S. Attorney General gearing up to deliver his annual remarks to the DOJ workforce. We'll have that story. Also, the IDF with another deadly airstrike in Gaza. We'll have those stories at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Jay Harper. It's 9:27 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. If you're looking for those videos of Joe Biden donning a MAGA hat, they're on my Twitter account, at Chris Hand on Air. It's something to be seen. I'll tell you that much. And I love the MAGA kids in the background watching them. And they're wearing like actual cool Trump shirts. You know what I mean? Like they've got like the Terminator Trump shirt.
Oh, they're creative.
Yeah, they got the Terminator Trump shirt. They got the American flag sunglasses Trump shirt. These kids, they spent some time picking out these shirts. But the Trump team has been spending some time behind the scenes editing down the video from the debate into really easy, digestible forms. And the Harris team hasn't been able to do the same thing with the effectiveness of the Trump team. This is an area where the Trump team really excels. And there's video to go along with this, which is on my Twitter account, at Chris Hand on Air. But Trump's team runs circles around the left with stuff like this.
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. She has a plan to defund the police. She has a plan to confiscate everybody's gun.
President Trump,
she has a plan to not allow fracking in Pennsylvania or anywhere else.
Okay,
that's what her plan is. And these people did the worst withdrawal and, in my opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And by the way, that's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history. This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. We have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums. I created one of the greatest economies in the history of our country. I'll do it again and even better. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially and create a great economy like I did before. In Minnesota, she went out. Wait a minute. I'm talking now. If you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar?
It's just so good. It's so good. The Harris team on the flip side, they're putting out little 30-second clips that just don't deliver the same message with the same emphasis and the same sense of urgency. They just don't. They miss the mark every single time, where the Trump team just nails it on target every single time with every piece of content they put out. Now, one of the pieces of content from the debate that's been going viral is they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. And it turns out they're eating the cats. They're eating the geese. And there are citizen journalists on the ground in Springfield, Ohio, talking to the residents there, confirming the stories that have been going viral on the internet, despite what the mainstream media says. We'll bring you those stories next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's 9:30. I'm Jay Harper, in for Joan Jones this morning, and I've got your top stories. Attorney General Merrick Garland prepares to deliver his annual remarks to the Department of Justice workforce today. With just weeks until the election, and despite many who claim the DOJ has just been a political weapon of the Biden administration, Garland will claim the DOJ is neutral and will vow that the department will not be used as a political weapon, regardless of who's in charge. ABC's Alex Mallon has more.
In his speech today, he's set to rebuke people who he says are spreading conspiracies that have resulted in direct threats against the lives of career DOJ officials. And regardless of who takes power come this November, these thousands and thousands of DOJ career officials are going to remain in the department. He's going to try and assure them, you may confront issues where you're challenged professionally, but it is always about sticking to the norms.
We now head to the Middle East, where the Israeli army striking another UN school that has turned into a shelter. This happened late yesterday, and it killed more than a dozen. The IDF says Hamas was operating from the school, displaced Gazans paying the price with their lives. Survivors repeating their desperate sense that nowhere is truly safe in Gaza as the war approaches its first anniversary. More than 41,000 killed. That's according to the Hamas-run health ministry, which does not differentiate between fighters and civilians. ABC's Jordana Miller. She's in Jerusalem.
The UN reporting 6 staff members killed in Israeli airstrikes on a school-turned-shelter in central Gaza. That makes it the single deadliest incident for the UN in a war that has already killed over 200 of its workers. The Israeli army defending its strikes that killed at least 18, saying the target was a Hamas control and command center in the school. IDF spokesman Nadav Shoshani insisting a, quote, significant number of those killed were Hamas members.
That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
what they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country.
That was Donald Trump at the debate. It's been going viral like crazy because, you know, the left-wing mainstream media is saying it's not happening, it's not real. And everybody else is like, no, it's pretty much proven at this point. When you talk to people on the ground, when you watch those city council meetings, yes, they're eating the cats, they're eating the geese. I haven't seen any reports about dogs. I'll give them the dogs. I haven't heard the reports on dogs. But cats and geese, yeah. Oh, yeah. I fully believe that is happening in Springfield, Ohio. Now, Springfield, Ohio, just to catch you up to speed, in case you've been living under a rock, you haven't been paying attention, which I know this audience doesn't do, but 60,000 residents in Springfield, Ohio, and they had an influx of 20,000 Haitian migrants. 20,000 in a town of 60. So that's going to be hard to deal with no matter where you live. No matter who you are, no matter where you live, and no matter what type of what country these people would be coming from. If you had 20,000 Dutch show up in Springfield, Ohio, it would create some friction. If you had 20,000 Japanese show up in Springfield, Ohio, it would create friction. If you had 20,000 Germans, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, that's how small the town is. So people are screaming racism because we have the audacity to highlight the fact that cats are going missing and people are taking the geese from Snyder Park in Springfield, and you're not allowed to talk about it. There was one moment that went viral though from a city council meeting, which you may remember. This guy's name is Anthony Harris, and Anthony Harris has been upset about the car accidents that are happening in Springfield, Ohio. He says that as soon as the Haitians showed up, car accidents just exploded in Springfield, Ohio. And he actually says in an interview that he believes about 98% of the car accidents in Springfield, Ohio are due to the Haitian migrants.
I don't know how, like, y'all can be comfortable with this. Like, I don't know, like, who's getting paid from it. I honestly feel like someone's getting paid from it in the background. You got a bunch of people on a bus getting dropped off at a gas station to come down here. I know a single mom that FaceTimed me this morning at the welfare office that really need something. And it's nothing but immigrants over there. And I don't even want to, seem like I'm coming down on the immigrants because it's the people that's bringing them down here. Because wherever they're at, that's what they're used to, bro. They're in the park grabbing up ducks by their neck and cutting their head off and walking off with them and eating them.
This has gone massively viral on the internet. You know, it went so viral that Donald Trump had to mention it at the debate. Well, citizen journalists are now on the ground in Springfield, Ohio, doing the job that we wish the mainstream media would do. We wish that we didn't need citizen journalists, but it seems like the press in this country has abdicated their responsibility. So we need to rely on regular people to go down there. And we have citizen journalists on the ground. One of those citizen journalists is Taylor Hansen, who you may know from Tenet Media. He had nothing to do with the Russia stuff, and for some reason they banned his YouTube account anyway. Just took him off the internet. He wasn't in a leadership role at Tenet Media. He wasn't the CEO. He wasn't the founder. He wasn't negotiating deals, but for some reason they took him off the internet. Well, Taylor Hansen is in Springfield, Ohio, and he sits down with the man that went viral from that video, Anthony Harris. And Anthony Harris relays the message. Listen, I was upset about car accidents from the Haitian migrants, so I started filming them.
Okay. At least a wreck every 2.5 hours, for sure.
Haitians, pretty much every time?
98%. 98% of the time.
So it was the car accidents that really set him on this path. 98% of the car accidents, he says, are Haitians. And listen, he doesn't knock them for getting into a car accident. He says the people that brought them here didn't give them the tools they need to thrive in America. That they're not used to it. And that's not racism. That's just objectivity. You can't take people from a different culture, drop them off, give them a debit card and say, hey, good luck. You can't do that. And one of the things that has resulted in this is lots of car accidents. Lots and lots of car accidents. And Taylor Hanson asks Anthony Harris about the ducks in Snyder Park, because that was one of the moments that went real viral. They're snatching up ducks and eating them. So you got to ask about the ducks.
Can you kind of speak on your experience with, you kind of talked about the Haitians grabbing ducks from Snyder Park. Can you kind of speak on what you've seen and what you've experienced out here in that situation?
Once I started documenting how the immigrants was coming over here and whatnot, basically, we live in a town. It's a real small town, so it's not really hard for somebody. It's like word to get out super quick. So when I told you, like, when I first did it, and people started hitting me up like, oh, there's a wreck over here, there's a wreck over here. People would hit me like, okay, I just seen a Haitian just grab up a duck in the park and cut his head off and walk off with it. I said, what the
Yeah. That would be
proper reaction.
That would be the reaction that any normal human would have. But he's seen it with his own eyes. And he said that once I saw it, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And he said that was the moment where, I had to go to that city council meeting, that town hall meeting that ended up going viral.
I said, hell no. I said, okay, I'm going downtown and they got to fix it. Because y'all not about to be wrecking and everything. And then on top of wrecking everything, y'all in the park grabbing up ducks. And then, oh, it's not facts. It's not facts. So why is people saying it? Why is people calling 911 talking about they're walking down the street with gooses and
It's not facts. It's not facts. He says, well, explain to me why people are walking down the streets with gooses and bleep. Explain that. We've all seen that viral photo, right? Have you seen that? The Haitian migrant walking down the street with what looks like a Canadian goose held by the feet. I've seen it. I'm sure you have too. If you haven't, it's on my Twitter, @ChrisHandOnAir. To be fair, it's not just a photo. There's a old school 1980s Mario Duck Hunt banner around it. So
stop, really?
Yeah. Well,
that's kind of amazing and horrifying at the same time, though.
I'm here for the memes.
Yeah.
This is one of those things where if it wasn't for the memes, I would probably be like really like disappointed and sad. But it's the memes that keep me going.
I mean, they're so creative, and Duck Hunt on it. I mean, that's good.
Yep.
I gotta admit, that's good.
But again, this guy, Anthony Harris, he goes to lengths to say, I am not blaming the Haitians. The Haitians that got dropped off in Springfield, Ohio, the 20,000 or so, they didn't choose that. They got bussed in the middle of the night. So he says it's not the Haitians' fault.
I don't know what they do over there, but it's different from America. So if you're going to bring 20,000 people over here and then y'all getting money from bringing them over here is my opinion and what I think. I think they're getting money from bringing them over here. Help them. Y'all getting money. Teach them how to drive.
Yep.
Teach them the culture.
Yep.
Teach them English.
These shouldn't be big asks, right? We love being a nation of immigrants, but the whole process of assimilation has really fallen by the wayside, right? Like nobody talks about assimilation anymore, and it's increasingly hard to assimilate when you drop off 20,000 Haitian immigrants in a town of 60,000.
Teach them do's and don'ts. Like, don't just bring them over here and just drop them off at a gas station. Just, hey, go get a job, and then we're going to give you a car with some money, and you're temporarily protected. That's lame as you setting them up for failure. You're using them as a pawn. You got people out here that don't like them for no reason. I'm not saying they don't like them for no reason, but they're disliking them because they're doing that they're accustomed to, what they knew, because America decided they want to bring them over here for what?
These are all fair points to make. The media, and I watched a lot of CNN yesterday because I wanted to see the coverage on what do we call it? Petgate? Catgate? What do you want to call it? I don't know. But I wanted to see their coverage on it. And it's like the likes of Anderson Cooper. Oh, it's racism. I can't believe that they're dabbling in racism. It's like, no. And for the record, Anthony Harris, the guy talking here, he's a black guy. Like, this isn't a racism thing. This is a cultural thing. You can't drop off 20,000 people from a different culture and expect everything is going to go smooth.
I don't know why, because America's already messed up. There's a lot of stuff that America could be doing. America should be focused on in America. We need to focus on at least getting us free Wi-Fi across the country before we trying to help a third world country. Can we lock in with ourselves before we lock in with every single body else? Because we can't save another country. Because what happens when we keep saving all these other countries around the world? What happens when we need saved? Who the gonna come and save us? America? The Avengers? Tony Stark? Drake?
Listen, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. We need to put our oxygen mask on first in this country. We're $35 trillion in debt. We have a president who is so brain dead, he's going to put on a MAGA hat in Pennsylvania, a critical swing state. We need to lock in and focus on America first, because nobody's going to come to save us if we need it. No one. Who's going to come to save us?
America? The Avengers? Tony Stark? Drake?
I love that he said Drake. I do. But he points out at something that we all need to understand. This is disrespectful to American citizens.
And I think it's really disrespectful to American citizens that if you keep going all across the world focusing on what everybody else is doing instead of focusing on what we got going on here, it's pitiful.
It is. We have homeless veterans on the street. We have moms and dads that can't afford groceries. Rent prices through the roof. Grocery prices through the roof. It is pitiful. We should not be helping anybody else until we have helped ourselves. We need to lock in and go back to America first. This story, this cat story, it highlights all of that. All of that. But what's the solution? Anthony Ayers, he's not sure.
What do you think is the solution to the kind of the crisis that Springfield, Ohio is presented with right now?
Y'all brought 20,000 people over here. They just gave the city of Springfield $2.5 million. I'm not saying on no hate. Don't bring no more people over here. Don't bring no more immigrants over here. Let's deal with what we got going on now, and then let's get them accustomed to America. Let's get them learn how to speak English. Let's teach them how to drive. Let's teach them how finances work. Let's teach them the do's and don'ts. Let's make sure that they can sustain life in America. Because what happens when y'all cut off the money that y'all giving them? What do you think is going to happen?
That is a powerful question. You drop 20,000 people off in a small town. You give them a bunch of free money. What happens when the money dries up?
I don't know what's going to happen. I can't say what's going to happen. I can't say they might come up and run up a bag by themselves, or I can't say if they might just go crazy because they was used to all this free money. And I'm not saying all of them are getting free money, because a lot of them got jobs, but there is a temporary protective status. And I do know that it's on Google on a little federal thing. If you go get a temporary protective status, you got to get a job, and they give them some type of money on top of having a job. So they ain't doing me like that.
No. They don't care about American citizens like that. And what happens when the money runs out? What happens when the money runs out? That's a scary, scary thought. 20,000 people getting free money, snatching up cats and ducks and geese. There's more. There's more audio coming out of Springfield, more residents being interviewed, and I'll bring you some of that next. Cats in a van? Cats in a van? And the police stopped them. One man saw it with his own eyes. That's up next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Poland is now weighing in on the war in Ukraine since they are a neighbor of all of this activity. Also, another drowning overnight on Percy Priest Lake. Those stories coming up at 10 a.m. on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Jay Harper. It is 9:58 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So when Donald Trump at the debate brought up the pets being eaten, David Muir, he jumped in to say, nah. We've talked with the city manager. That's what he said.
BC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there had been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is the
people on television say my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from television.
But the people
I'm
on
taking it from
television
the city
saying their
manager.
dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that.
Yeah, there's no evidence. And again, I watched a lot of CNN yesterday, and they all repeated the same thing. There's no evidence. There's no evidence.
Was Kamala a part of that debate? I don't even know.
Honestly. They kept saying, we spoke to the city manager. Well, I wish they would have spoke to some residents, because the residents in Springfield, Ohio, have a different story.
I wouldn't be surprised, though, because we used to have a lot of cats around here. And especially down here at the end of the street, that lady had probably 50 of them. Now she's lucky to have 5. And the geese down at the park, they're declining. So I don't know if they're eating them, too.
There's one guy, though, that said he saw with his own eyes a van full of cats. A van full of cats driven by 2 Haitians. Said he watched the police pull them over, saw the police asked them about the cats, to which they said, it's food. It's food. Did ABC think about talking to any of the residents? No, just the city manager. I'll bring you what these residents had to say next. It's 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. Yes, it is 10 a.m. I'm Jay Harper in for Joan Jones this morning, and I've got your top stories. Well, dry this morning, but don't get too comfortable. Remnants of Tropical Storm Francine expected to be paying us a visit a little later today. We'll have a full forecast here in a couple of minutes. The Secretary of State in Poland sounding off on officials there about the possibility of allowing Ukraine to use Western missiles against targets far into Russia and what the implications of such action might be.
With Russia now chalking up daily gains in the east.
Can Ukraine still win? Yes. In fact, we're determined to see Ukraine win this war.
Secretary Blinken was just in Kyiv listening to calls to allow U.S. missiles to be fired deep into Russia.
We will adapt, we will adjust, and make sure that Ukraine has what it needs when it needs it.
Kremlin spokesman Peskov believes such a decision's already been made, and Moscow's prepared to respond in kind.
That's ABC's Tom Rivers. One person is dead after a man jumped from a boat but did not resurface last night on Percy Priest Lake. A group was boating there near Elm Hill Island last evening. The boaters then calling police about midnight, explaining that the man jumped in the water but never came back up. Metro Police say they sent out a search and rescue team, which did include a helicopter, and they were able to recover the body of an adult man. No identity has been released as of yet. That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
what they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
That was Donald Trump at the debate last night. It's been the topic of discussion just about everywhere. If you watch CNN, they'll scream racism and they'll say that there's no evidence. Racism and no evidence. We've talked to the city manager. It's okay. That's a hot take. There actually is a lot of evidence, and it goes back to the city council meeting that went viral, where residents were talking about cats disappearing, geese and ducks being snatched out of the pond in Snyder Park. There's lots of evidence if you look for it. The mainstream media doesn't want to look for it, though. They'd rather just point to one statement from one guy and say, see, we did our due diligence. We did it. But Springfield residents, they have more to say than that. On the ground in Springfield, Ohio, there's a lot of citizen journalists out there doing actual interviews with actual residents. And it sounds like this.
There was Haitians in a white van driving around the neighborhoods collecting cat.
For what?
Skinning them and eating them. Snyder Park.
A lot of stuff like this. A lot of stuff like this coming out of Springfield, Ohio.
We've lost a whole bunch of cats. There was a van pulled over that had over 100 cats in it with the Haitians. They said they was eating them.
Actually, now, I want to point out, these are two different interviews at two different locations. These people are not standing next to each other when they're corroborating each other's story, okay? The first woman was outside what looked like a trailer park, and this individual is outside his home, a completely different location, exactly the same story.
We've lost a whole bunch of cats. There was a van pulled over that had over 100 cats in it with the Haitians. They said they was eating them.
Actually?
Yeah.
Not fake news.
Not fake news.
So a van was collecting cats and eating them.
I watched it happen, yeah. Watched them get pulled over with the cats and admit to the police that they was eating them.
You're not joshing with me.
No, I'm almost 50 years old, buddy. No.
You don't mess around.
No.
I'm over 50 years old, buddy. I'm not joshing. I don't mess around. I believe that guy. I believe him a lot more than I believe Anderson Cooper, I'll tell you that much. I was watching Anderson Cooper last night. Anderson Cooper's like, it's racist. It's a racist lie. Anderson, come on, man. There's nothing racist about it. You can actually point to a lot of cultures and be like, no, dude, they eat cats, they eat dogs. Like, it's just a different culture. This is what they do. There was one guy that went viral last night. This is a black guy. He's rocking a MAGA hat, and he calls out people for screaming racism at this story. Donald Trump's a racist because he said people are eating cats and dogs. It's like, he's like, no, what? How is that racist?
Black people, y'all know y'all telling a damn lie. As soon as Trump said, they eating the dogs and the cats, black people like, oh, Lord, look at him. He's saying they eating cats and dogs. Every black person you know, I ain't missing nobody. Every black person you know that said the Chinese people is eating dogs and cats at the Chinese carryout. Everybody, any city. You can go to Baltimore, you can go to Philly, you can go to D.C., I can go to Richmond, I can go to Miami. If I go to the Chinese restaurant, at least one black person going to say, don't you eat in there. They eating the damn cat.
Listen, is he lying? I don't even think it's like a black people thing. I think that's just like a cultural joke in America, right? Plus, there's truth to it. You know, in China, they actually have festivals where they eat dogs. My wife makes me sit through Housewives sometimes while I'm doing show prep, and one of those housewives like literally runs a rescue for dogs that get eaten in China. I can't remember which one. Somebody will know. I can't be the only husband that has to watch this stuff, right? I do it while I'm doing show prep, but nonetheless, everybody makes these jokes. Everyone makes these jokes. It's not racist. It's actually pointing out something that happens in different cultures and how in America we think is just.
They use it as a excuse to not talk about it, honestly.
It's a deflection.
It's an absolute deflection.
If I say it's racist, well, now you're not allowed to talk about it. This guy calls BS on all that.
But as soon as Trump said it, they said, oh, he unhinged. He's unhinged. He talking about eating dogs and cats. Man, we've been saying that for damn near 50 years. I know. I'm 52. I know I've been hearing it since I was a damn baby.
The memes. I'm so here for the memes. I am. I'm here for the memes. Do you know it's actually turned into a dance trend on TikTok?
I'm so ready for this.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. Eat the cat.
There's so many of this stuff.
It's so good. That's so catchy.
And then you know who Hassan Piker is, right?
Yeah.
All right. Explain who Hassan Piker is.
He's this crazy left-wing streamer on Twitch, and he is crazy. Anytime someone says something about him negatively on his Twitch, he'll block them forever and says horrible things about people. He is as left can be.
Okay, so he was live streaming the debate on Twitch. And when Donald Trump said the thing about eating cats and dogs, this leftist live streamer just starts screaming, "Ah! Ah!" Well, somebody took that and turned it into a song as well.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. The people that came in, they're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. Yeah! And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame.
There's a whole video that goes with this too.
If you listen,
they're eating the dogs.
If you go into a nightclub and this was playing, you wouldn't think twice.
It'd be a jam.
Yeah.
And this is what's happening. Dogs. People on television.
It would be a banger. It's so
That's
funny.
what America needs right now.
Everybody
is memes.
Yep.
That's how we get the left and right together.
It's how we can actually talk about these issues that are important. There's a whole video that goes along with that song. At Chris Hand on air. Check it out. I got a lot of people that want to weigh in on this conversation. Gary in Greenbrier. What's up, Gary?
Hey, Chris. It was great meeting you, first of all, at Cedar Creek.
Yeah, man. We had a blast. It was great meeting you as well, sir.
Thank you. Listen, I found out yesterday I was buying some hay, and the guy that was selling it to me, he said, this is really crazy, but some years ago in Springfield, and it's before I moved there, up near that area, he said a lot of the Laotians were dumped into Springfield, and they weren't there a long period of time, but they were there long enough. He said you couldn't find a stray dog or cat. They got eaten. And
I don't blame the people. Like you come from a different culture. You don't know any different. You're doing what you know.
Yeah, and when I was growing up, and I'm older than the guy that said he was 50-something, it was just common knowledge that you couldn't get, and my dad and mom, they loved Chinese food, so we'd go eat Chinese. But it wasn't a joke per se. It was everyone knew you're never going to find a cat anywhere near a Chinese restaurant.
Listen, we've been joking about that for decades in this country. It's so I don't understand how it's a racist thing now. It doesn't make any sense.
It's not. It's a bunch of malarkey, and that debate was a 3-on-1, and I hope there's another debate and Fox has the moderators or Newsmax, but it's all ridiculous. And they are eating these animals in Springfield, Ohio. I mean, that's the way it is.
Yep.
Don't deny it. And it's all because they're flooding the country with people they hope vote Democrat.
Yep, you're absolutely right, Gary, and I appreciate the call, man. Let's go to Don in Franklin. You're up next on Super Talk. What's up, Don?
Hey, they call France a civilized country.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know if they still do, but they used to eat horse meat.
What is it? Horse feet?
Horse meat.
Horse meat. Yeah, I wouldn't sign up for that.
No, me neither, but that's what they used to do.
It wouldn't surprise me. They eat snails, too. Appreciate the call, Don. Let's go to Mike in Nashville. You're up next on Super Talk. What's up, Mike?
Morning. I've got a unique vantage point on Nashville. I run a very large car dealership in downtown. We, a couple years ago, built a Spanish department, right, to assist the Spanish-speaking community with getting loans and buying cars.
Yeah.
And it used to be, hey, I've only got a driver's license, or I only have a work visa, and we could figure out how to help them. I'm not kidding you. Over the last 12 months, it has skyrocketed with people who have zero documentation. I'm telling you, we get 100 leads a day, and 90 of them have zero documentation. And their jobs on their applications are DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Uber, which you have to have a driver's license and be able to pass a background check to do. You'd have fraudulent accounts.
You'd actually be really surprised, Mike. Our friend of the show, Savannah Hernandez, she's an investigative journalist. She actually uncovered that there's underground markets where you can purchase Uber Eats accounts from people that set them up. You can purchase DoorDash accounts from people that set them up. There's actually like a huge online marketplace for these accounts, be it Uber or DoorDash or Lyft, where for $1,500, $2,000, $3,000, you can buy this account and then operate from someone else's account.
Whether you're getting a DoorDash delivered from a Christina and the person shows up and it is not a Christina and they can't speak English.
No.
It's a lot bigger than we're talking about yet in Middle Tennessee, but they're here.
Oh, 100%. And I've been getting messages from people in Manchester, Tennessee, where they say there's a massive influx of Haitian migrants in Manchester. I think that we're just not seeing the ripple effect yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, agreed. Well, thanks for your time.
Hey, appreciate you holding, man. Thanks so much. Let's go to Deborah. You're up next. What's up, Deb?
Hi. I just wanted to call in and share a little story that happened back in the 80s. I lived in Charleston, South Carolina, and there was a little Chinese restaurant across the street from us where we worked, and they shut them down for eating cats and dogs. Well, they really weren't eating them. They were selling it to people who were buying their food.
No.
So this has been going on for a long time. It's not just new. But I live close to Manchester, and that's true about the influx of the Haitians and Somalians. You can't even go over there hardly without, just being inundated with them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting messages from all sorts of people in Manchester. I mean, I haven't verified anything myself, full disclosure, but there's Facebook groups popping up and message threads like crazy about the influx of Haitians and Somalians in Manchester, Tennessee. So it's definitely something I'm keeping an eye on.
Yeah, that's true. But that was a true story. I did, that happened back in the 80s, 1989, I think it was. And the Charleston Food and Health or whatever they are, they shut them down. They did catch them doing it. So it wasn't a hearsay thing. They caught them and they shut them down.
Yeah, well,
So,
good on them. Good on them. I appreciate the call, Deborah. Thanks so much.
All right.
Yeah, it's a crazy world we're living in.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
Let's go to Gail in Nolansville. You're up next on Super Talk. What's up, Gail?
Yes, I wanted to speak about the guy that was talking about the car wrecks. And I've seen the business reports and individual claims about how our car insurance is going, the rates are going up. Well, if I have a car wreck with an uninsured driver, my insurance company is going to pay the whole thing for them and for me. They're not going to pay their share. So no wonder the car insurance for those of us who are insured drivers, like Americans that are required to have insurance, no wonder our car insurance rates are going to just skyrocketing.
Yep, you're absolutely right, Gail. It's cause and effect. It's just natural, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey,
it's going to continue to just break the backs of Americans.
Yep. And I wish that we could lock in and put American citizens first, but it doesn't seem like anybody in power really cares about that right now.
Exactly.
Hey, I appreciate your call. Thanks so much. It is 10:19 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We do have some weather rolling in here today. It's the remnants of what's the name of the hurricane? Do you know the name of the hurricane?
Oh, God, I should know this.
It's Francine.
Thank you.
Francine.
Yes.
What time is rain starting here?
I'm sorry, Jeff. Do you have it?
Yeah, I have it in my hand. It says it starts at 3, and it's not going to stop until like early morning tomorrow.
Yikes. A lot of rain headed our way, and I know that I heard Ken Weaver talking, I think it was yesterday, because it's been so dry, because of the droughts, there could be some flash flooding, so be weather aware. And keep your head on a swivel while you're out there after 3 o'clock when it starts raining, because the water is coming. It's Chris Hand here for my friends at USS, and with all the rain that we're going to be getting, you could find yourself having an issue with waterproofing, either in your crawl space or your basement. Maybe you have this issue and you're already biting your nails because you know that this rain is coming. Well, call my friends at USS today. They are your experts in waterproofing. They've been doing it in Middle Tennessee since 1994. And if you know water is going to get into your crawl space, you know water is going to get into your basement, you want to call the experts. Call the guys that have 25,000 satisfied customers. Call United Structural Systems. 615-488-7855. 615-488-7855. You can find more information online, USSTN.com.
Well, Mother Nature topping the news. Of course, we've had a hurricane along the Gulf Coast, and we're going to be feeling remnants of that, as we just discussed a moment ago. Now, the western part of the U.S. dealing with wildfires and now an earthquake in Southern California. We'll have those stories at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Jay Harper. It's 10:24 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. You can find me on Twitter, True Social, Instagram, at Chris Hand on Air. Hit the follow button. I'll find you. I'll follow you back as well. You can watch us anywhere on Super Talk TV, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. You can listen to us on iHeartRadio or tune in podcasts on Apple and Spotify. And all of those things are also on the 99.7 WTN app, which is free and in the App Store. Download it. We were talking about Springfield, Ohio, and the cats and the dogs, because it's one of the biggest stories today.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
So a lot of people calling in to weigh in on this. Garrett in Nashville, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, Garrett?
Oh, hey, man. I just had a thought as this was going on. I hadn't thought about it, but I'm a Three Stooges fan.
Okay.
And there's an episode where they run a restaurant, and Larry and Moe think that Curly killed a cat.
Oh, jeez. I think I remember this one. You there, Garrett? Garrett's phone dropped out. The Stooges are classic, though. Garrett, call back if you can. Susan, you're up next on Super Talk 99.7. What's up, Sue?
Chris, what's up?
How we doing?
Good. You guys are awesome. Keep up the good work.
Hey, appreciate you.
A couple quick stories. I can't recall the year here in Tennessee. I'm thinking it was the 90s because we were all horrified. It might have been 2000s that a restaurant was closed because in the Nashville area because this Chinese restaurant, it could have been other than Chinese, but I think it was a Chinese restaurant, was serving kitty cats in their meals, so they closed them down. And I remember everybody just horrified. Meanwhile, I think that's pretty common. And the second thing is my husband at the time was in the Air Force in the mid-'80s, and he got sent to Seoul, Korea for a year remote tour. And I remember him telling me he went to an open market, and there were puppies hanging by the neck for sale, and it wasn't for a pet. And I couldn't believe it. So that's been going on for centuries.
Yep. I mean, listen, this is it's a cultural thing. Like other cultures actually eat cats and dogs, and I mean that's just what they do. You know, other cultures eat crickets and bugs and stuff like that as well.
And rats.
You know,
anything that's anything edible. I heard my good friend from Tennessee said he'll eat anything but a possum.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you can't really you can't knock them in these third world countries when you're hungry and you need food. You do what you need to do, and I'm not knocking that.
I agree that it is shocking to us American culture.
Yes, and it's totally uprooting when you bring in 20,000 Haitian migrants to a small town of 60,000, and then geese and ducks are starting to disappear from the ponds, and nobody sees the stray cats on the streets anymore. It's a little bit unnerving.
I love animals, but cats are kind of like rats. They can produce a litter like every month. I mean, so whatever. I mean, I love animals, but yeah, it's like not shocking to me at least, but it does. I don't like it, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Hey, I hear you. I just don't think we should be doing this kind of stuff in America or allowing this to just be swept under the rug. The important part of being a nation of immigrants is assimilation. And it's hard to do assimilation when you bring in 20,000 non-U.S. citizens to a small town. Very hard. And it would be hard, again, I said this earlier, it'd be hard if they were Dutch. It would be hard if they were Russian. It'd be hard if they were Chinese. The race doesn't matter. It's the cultural differences that are really changing the dynamics here. Cal in Franklin, your thoughts?
Hey, Chris. Number one, thanks so much for what you do. Really appreciate your show.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
The things that you're talking about are so relevant. But, when you go out and look for this information on the internet, it's so interesting. The results that are returned back to you, it's all of those articles and all of those YouTube videos and that stuff that say, no, it's not real.
Yep.
And that just kind of gets my attention is how much they're actually controlling the information around us.
Yep.
But the other angle that we need to think about is the money. How much money has been poured into developing the app, flying the people over, giving money so that they can survive, all the, housing, all of that money, and our debt clock is just going up at an astronomical rate.
You're absolutely right. The economic stress can't be highlighted enough here. We're paying to bring them in. We're paying for them to survive. We're exacerbating the housing crisis that we're being told is going on by having millions upon millions of illegal aliens coming into this country. It is not going to be good for our economy. And like you said, we're $35 trillion in debt.
And going up fast.
Yeah, man, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. And then the lack of attention to this is wild. The fact that they just want to shut it down and say it's a myth, it's not happening. We talked to a city manager, and like you said, on the Google search results, everything lines up perfectly. No. Look, there's 2 pages of it's not happening results. That usually tells me that we're over the target.
Yeah. Thanks again for everything you do. You're right on track to keep us focused. Thanks.
Hey, man, I really appreciate you, Cal. It is 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. Yes, it is 10:30, and I'm Jay Harper with your top stories, sitting in for Joan Jones this morning. Well, yeah, it's dry for now, but hold on. Remnants of Tropical Storm Francine are expected to be paying us a visit here in a little bit. So, yeah, we're going to get wet. We'll get you a full forecast here in a couple of minutes. The U.S. Geological Survey says a 4.7 earthquake shook parts of L.A. this morning. No real damage, no injuries have been reported. ABC's Alex Stone, he's in L.A. with details.
It was a quake centered near Malibu, was mainly felt on the west side of L.A., and many in L.A. say they didn't feel a thing, but earthquake warnings went off all around Southern California, warning that at the time a 5.0 magnitude was coming and to take cover immediately. It came right as kids were getting ready to head out to school.
Well, in Southern California, it's not only a shake, but it's a bake too. Firefighters in Southern California, they've had their hands full. 3 big fires there burning well over 100,000 acres. Mola Lengi, he's an ABC reporter. He is near one of the fires in Riverside County.
Firefighters making some progress here in the last 24 hours, in part due to some lower temperatures after several days of extreme heat, but still concerns that strong winds could help spread flames here.
And now along the Gulf Coast, that massive landfall of Hurricane Francine in Louisiana. Weather experts in the South, including Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, they warn that massive amounts of rain could still drench the region from the now downgraded tropical depression Francine. Thibodaux, Louisiana Mayor Kevin Clinette says that, he told ABC News today that while they didn't suffer a lot of damage, they did under Hurricane Ida back in 2021. And he says they haven't forgotten that while they don't have a lot of wind damage, the rain, well, it can create all kinds of problems.
I have to be honest, this one packed a little bit heavier of a punch and more rain than what we anticipated late last night. It seemed like the water just continued to come down and the wind continued to whip.
And again, we're expecting to be seeing some remnants from Francine here later today. That is the latest news. We'll get you that weather forecast next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
1036 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. You can listen to the show anywhere you go on the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app. You can follow me on Facebook. No, not Facebook. Twitter, Instagram, and True Social at Chris Hand on Air. If you missed any of those songs or you want to see the videos, they're on my Twitter feed. I may have gotten the best text I've ever gotten. Anecdotally speaking, we're the number one show for the local postal workers here in Middle Tennessee. And I got a text here. It says, delivering mail, speaker turned up, and this song starts blaring.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat.
He said, I'm delivering mail. I got my speaker turned up, and you start playing that. There were older people at the mailbox giving me funny looks.
They must have been horrified.
Thanks, Hand.
They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. Eat the cat.
Sir, we got a complaint the other day that you were driving around with a music blaring saying, quote, they're eating the cats.
Was there any foul language in it? No, there wasn't. They're just
threatening the pets.
Just a little bit horrified.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
The mainstream media says nothing is happening. Don't worry about it. We've talked to the city manager. But when you look at what they're saying, and that's one thing, you look at what they're doing, and that's a different thing. Governor Mike DeWine has sent state troopers into Springfield, Ohio, to deal with the Haitian migrant crisis. Oh, interesting. I thought everything was fine. I thought we were conspiracy theorists. Well, Governor Mike DeWine announced yesterday that he's going to be sending the Ohio State Highway Patrol and $2.5 million to the beleaguered community of Springfield, where Haitian immigrants have turned the city upside down. Which is, it's interesting because they told us that everything's fine. They told us, don't worry about it, right? That's what they said. Then why do you need to send in the state troopers? And another $2.5 million goes back to what that other caller was saying. The economic cost of having all of these migrants in these towns is insane. And you're going to spend another $2.5 million because you imported 20,000 people. Governor Mike DeWine said, I want the people of Springfield and Clark County to know that as we move forward, we will continue to do everything we can to help the community deal with this surge of migrants. The federal government has not demonstrated that they have any kind of plan to deal with the issue. We will not walk away. Well, then I would have to ask you, why did you open your doors? Why? Why did you open your doors? You can't handle it in this town. Anybody with a brain could have told you that this is going to be chaotic at best. It's best. Now, Governor Mike DeWine said he doesn't impose the influx of 20,000 Haitians who have been flooding the city since 2020. But he said the federal government should do more to help the people affected by the consequences of its immigration policy. So they got to send in Ohio State Police to assist local law enforcement. Now, largely because of them not understanding driving rules in the United States. There are so many car accidents in Springfield, Ohio because of the Haitian migrants. They said that they have the highest crash rates right there in Ohio, and they're now going to be holding accountable any driver who drives erratically and risks the safety to others. DeWine said that $2.5 million will be sent over 2 years and largely used to provide more health care in the community. I bet you there's some citizens down there that could really use some help, some American citizens that could really use some help with some health care that aren't going to see a dollar of this money. It's disgraceful. It's disgraceful. On Monday, Republican Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost also referenced the problems in Springfield, telling his office to find a legal response that would stop the federal government from dumping an unlimited number of migrants into Ohio communities. And although DeWine is providing emergency funding to Springfield for driver education, more vaccines for kids in schools, and translation services, it hasn't been enough to make a difference. These dramatic surges impact every citizen of the community, every citizen, he said, warning that the Ohio communities of Findlay and Lima will also be affected by a surge of migrants. DeWine said the list of those hurt includes moms who have to wait hours in a waiting room with a sick child, everyone who drives on the streets, and it affects children who go to school in more crowded classrooms. Springfield is just the latest in the epicenter of the migrant crisis that has just been really off the charts since Biden and Harris took over. A lot of people want to weigh in on this. Let's go to Steve in Nashville on immigration. What's up, Steve?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What's up?
Hey, I wanted to comment. Italy is where they serve meat. I've seen it, Bourdain and all that. France might do it too. But anyways, that's beside the point. The mayor of Springfield came out and talked about how they're not receiving money. And I know that Anthony Harris is running for office. He should be the Trump team needs to get him on board because he's really, I love what he says. Other than the profanity, he's really good. That being said, I like to troll on Facebook. I only get on there for family. And the reason I call this now, my left is French from high school, next generation. Last night we're posting stuff about CBS, and it was source stuff about J.D. Vance and propaganda about this whole thing with Springfield and all the other. And then I got triggered because they use neo-Nazis, to blanket what we are and all the other stuff. And I was like, oh, my God.
Yeah, well, yeah, we clearly we only have a problem because we're racist, right? It has nothing to do with car accidents. It has nothing to do with ducks going missing and cats going missing. It has nothing to do with the millions of dollars we're paying for welfare benefits for these migrants while American citizens are going hungry because of the inflation. It has nothing to do with that. We're just neo-Nazis.
No. And so I've decided I'm just going to meme them out. That's all I'm going to do with it. Get on there and just troll them and just do it that way. Because I don't want to be mean to them because they were friends, but they're out of their minds.
Yep.
Anyways, all that being said, I went down some rabbit holes on the food across the world. China's the number one place in the world where they eat dogs and cats. They have places where they have the dog markets and stuff like that. Yep. There's 2 other countries that are named. But there's this guy, I'm going to send you a link. He's from Jamaica, his family was. And he says the islands where the Haitians come from, that they use those cats and they take the bones and the blood after they eat them, because that's part of the sacrifice. I read about it online. I had to go deep with this one.
Yep.
And then they use that to do rituals as well.
Yeah,
so it's not just about the eating of them.
The rituals are for good luck.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot of voodoo stuff.
Yes, it's all voodoo stuff. Yeah, and that's what I wanted to say. And Anthony Harris for mayor, I like him.
Yeah, me too. Anthony Harris he's on the money. I appreciate the call. I've seen that video going around Facebook too. I don't know, or on Instagram. I think I saw it. It's on Twitter as well. It's a Jamaican guy, and he's breaking down that this isn't racist. This is their culture, and he says that Haitians will proudly tell you what they're doing with the cats, if you ask them. The mainstream media isn't going to go ask them, though. Surprise. Arden in the borough, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, Arden?
Good morning. Really enjoy your show.
Thank you.
Here's my thoughts this morning listening to your show. Haiti's an island, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just like, how are we getting Haitian refugees from an island to Springfield, Ohio? Who's footing the bill?
Well, it's the parole pipeline. The Biden administration, the Biden-Harris administration is flying them in. We're footing the bill. And Haiti is an island. On the other side of the island is the Dominican Republic, and they protect that border with like a 12-foot concrete wall, drones, and guys with machine guns because they don't want the Haitians crossing the border.
And do the city officials or the governors of these states, do they not have a say-so on whether or not they accept this influx of migrants into their towns? Or
I feel like you should have some say, but Mike DeWine here, Governor DeWine out of Ohio, he said he warned other communities of Findlay and Lima that they will also be affected by a surge of migrants. It's like, what? Tell them no. But we're dealing with it. We're dealing with it. We're dealing with it in Tennessee too. Like every state is dealing with this right now. You know what I mean? Every state is a border state because of Biden and because of Harris. It's the CHNV parole program. So they're flying in hundreds of thousands, if not millions, from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela.
Wow.
Yeah.
Scary.
They even had to pause this program for a little while because of the reports of fraud. People were signing up for this parole program using the same phone number, the same email address, not having any paperwork, which is, you're not going to have a lot of paperwork from some of these countries, but there was so much fraud that they had to pause it for a while. And they've since restarted it. So, yeah, we're flying in, millions from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela on your tax dollars and my tax dollars.
Amen. May God have mercy on us.
I know it. Jeez, it's crazy. Hey, appreciate your call. Thank you so much. Let's go to Kyle in Nashville, who's been holding for a minute. What's up, Kyle?
Hey, Chris, can you hear me good?
Yes, sir. Thanks for holding.
Hey, I wanted to touch on a few things. So I've got my neighbors. They are from Venezuela. They've been in the country for about 6 months. They've got a lot of family here in Clarksville, and there's about 20 of them. They all drive 2017 and newer vehicles, every one of them. I met a girl at my friend's little boy's birthday party, and she was from Venezuela. She was illegal, and she came to the state, got her tubes tied on taxpayer dollars, gets all this health care and all this other stuff, and I'm pulling into my driveway in a 24-year-old truck, and she's had 2 wrecks within a month and doesn't even have a driver's license. And it's just wild that you can force us to take a vaccine, but none of these other people have been vaccinated or anything like that.
Yeah.
You're going to start hearing all these different diseases that haven't been around in the state start popping up.
Well, we actually already have seen it at some migrant detention facilities, or not detention facilities, but migrant housing facilities in Chicago. You're having like measles outbreaks and mumps outbreaks because, like you said, that these individuals aren't vaccinated or anything like that. And to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not like a huge vaccine guy. I don't really care, but I think what you're pointing out is the contrast between you can come in and don't stress it, but for an American citizen, you better get this vaccine or you can't work. And the double standard there, we're living in a 2-tier society, it feels like.
Exactly. I appreciate you, Chris. Thank you.
Appreciate you too, Kyle. Thanks for calling in, man. Let's go to Phil in the borough. You're next on Super Talk. What's up, Phil?
Hi, well, good morning, Chris. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I guess you've heard of the cat ladies for Kamala.
I've heard of the cat ladies for Kamala.
Yeah, I talked to them we have a Saturday market on the square.
Yep.
And I talked to him one day up there, and I asked her. I'm nice. I was nice. My wife didn't believe I was nice, but I was nice. And I asked them. Are they actually?
I know where obviously I live in the borough too, so I know exactly where you're talking about, the farmers market on the square. Are the cat ladies for Kamala actually setting up down there every weekend?
Yeah, they have signs that says cat ladies for Kamala.
Oh my gosh. I wish it wasn't raining this weekend or I would so be there. All right, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go off. You asked the cat ladies for Kamala about Tim Walz. Keep going.
And I said, I understand what you do, but how can you like a guy that, said he had a service and he didn't, and then he puts female product canisters in a boy's bathroom in elementary school, and she looked me directly in the eye and says, well, what did it hurt?
Really?
That's what she said to me. What did it hurt?
Okay.
And then she got talking about wanting if I had grandchildren and girls and all this and it was all about the abortion thing. And I got 2 more things I want to ask you. Did you not notice on the debate the other night that Kamala Harris was taking notes?
Yeah. Yep, I noticed that.
I saw that. I saw that notebook and I went, wait a minute, they're not supposed to have anything up there with them.
No, you're right. Well, actually, I'm not sure what the final stipulation was. If they weren't allowed to bring their own notes, I think they might have been allowed to have a pen and pad up there. I got to look into it.
I saw on X this morning, and I don't know if this is true or not. Maybe you can find out. But was the lady commentator actually a sorority sister to Kamala Harris?
It's funny you mentioned that. She actually was a sorority sister to Kamala Harris. In fact, George Slopadopoulos himself confirmed that on ABC one time. I believe this is during the inauguration. It's the female moderator and Lindsay Davis and George Slopadopoulos. This is them confirming it on ABC.
Lindsay Davis, Robin Roberts is right. It's a sorority thing. I don't understand it all. So you have to explain it to everybody.
Sure.
You're a sorority sister of Kamala Harris.
Right. Well,
You hear it right there. You're a sorority sister of Kamala Harris. Yeah. You nailed that one, Phil.
Yeah, okay. Well, have a good day, Chris.
Hey, appreciate you. It's easy. It's easy to be fair and biased. One thing that Phil said that stuck out to me was cat ladies for Kamala. The biggest cat lady for Kamala has jumped in on the endorsement train, Taylor Swift. You know that. J.D. Vance actually had a great retort to the Taylor Swift endorsement. I'm going to bring that to you next. It's 10:52 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, and I'm here for my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. It is that time of the year. You're going to be switching over pretty soon from AC to heat. Don't wait. Get your annual maintenance done now because you don't want a problem popping up when you need your heat the most. Make sure it's running at maximum peak efficiency. Call my friends at Busy Bee. Otherwise, you're waiting for a problem to pop up. Don't do that. Keep your unit in tip-top shape. Whether you need that annual maintenance, repair, or replacement plumbing, heating, or air system, the guys who I trust are over at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. And if you do need to replace your system, you won't find a better value on replacement systems. Up to 12 months with no payment, no interest, with approved credit. And it'll pay in so many ways to sign up for the Beehive Club membership. It's only $99. You get 3 annual tune-ups, one for your heating, one for your cooling, one for your plumbing, 10% discount on all repairs, priority front-of-the-line service, a $100 annual accrued replacement credit with a maximum of $1,000, and no overtime or holiday fees. Plus, through the end of September, when you buy one, you get one free for the grandparents in your life. Call Busy Bee today. They're your Rude Pro partner, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, busybeehvac.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
Well, remnants of Hurricane Francine going to stick around in Middle Tennessee through the weekend. We'll tell you what's shaking out west coming up at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. And we're going to be talking about J.D. Vance, his reaction to the Taylor Swift endorsement. He says that she's disconnected from everyday average Americans, and he nails it. He absolutely nails it. Do you think Taylor Swift understands what's happening on the ground in Springfield, Ohio? No, not one bit. Wait till you hear this from J.D. Vance. Plus, we'll get to more of your phone calls. I see Sebastian, John, Steve hanging on the line. We'll get to you guys on the way. Hang out with us. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's 11 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Rain from remnants of Hurricane Francine getting closer to Middle Tennessee. It's going to stick with us through the weekend. We'll tell you more about it during the full forecast in 5 minutes. Thibodaux, Louisiana Mayor Kevin Clenett tells ABC News about what it was like when Francine came through there.
No major power lines down, no major telephone poles down that we know of as of yet. We did have water in houses last night, and we did have to rescue some residents from their houses, and we brought them to shelters.
Hurricanes and tropical storms in the south. Get a load of what's shaking out west. Alex Stone.
It was a quake center near Malibu. Was mainly felt on the west side of L.A., and many in L.A. say they didn't feel a thing, but earthquake warnings went off all around Southern California, warning that at the time a 5.0 magnitude was coming and to take cover immediately. It came right as kids were getting ready to head out to school.
And the Secretary of State in Poland sounding off about officials there, talking about the possibility of allowing Ukraine to use Western missiles against targets far into Russia and what the implications of such action might be. We get more from Tom Rivers at the Foreign Desk.
With Russia now chalking up daily gains in the east.
Can Ukraine still win? Yes. In fact, we're determined to see Ukraine win this war.
Secretary Blinken was just in Kyiv listening to calls to allow U.S. missiles to be fired deep into Russia.
We will adapt, we will adjust, and make sure that Ukraine has what it needs when it needs it.
Kremlin spokesman Peskov believes such a decision's already been made, and Moscow's prepared to respond in kind.
And the Israeli army striking another UN school turned to shelter late yesterday, killed more than a dozen. The IDF says Hamas was operating from that school. Displaced Gazans are paying the price with their lives for the actions of Hamas. The UN reporting 6 staff members killed in Israeli airstrikes on that school. That makes it the single deadliest incident for the UN in a war that has killed over 200 of its workers. The Israeli army defending its strikes again, saying the target was a Hamas control and command center in the school, and there were Hamas operatives killed too. Election 2024, a former U.S. Attorney General who served under George W. Bush now says he's supporting Kamala Harris.
He served as White House counsel for all of George W. Bush's first term and as Attorney General in Bush's second. And now Alberto Gonzalez joins the list of Republican former officials who say they simply cannot vote for Donald Trump. In a Politico op-ed, Gonzalez calls Trump perhaps the most serious threat to the rule of law in a generation. Gonzalez says it's his view that if Trump again holds the power of the presidency, he would, quote, abuse it for personal and political gain and not on behalf of the American people.
Gonzalez now serves at the Dean and Doyle Rogers Distinguished Professor of Law for Belmont University's College of Law here in Nashville. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
11:05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris, and a lot of the people on leftist mainstream media are making a massive deal out of the Taylor Swift endorsement. I always thought that the timing was like they were waving a white flag on the debate. Like they've been sitting on it, and the timing was there so it would dominate the conversation post-debate. I'm not sure it's going to give her a massive bump. There'll be some sort of bump. But what are the ramifications of a Taylor Swift endorsement? Martha McCallum asked J.D. Vance that yesterday.
It was interesting last night that Taylor Swift gave her endorsement of Harris and Waltz right after. She has 283 million followers on Instagram, and I'm sure that someone brought to your attention that she signed it, "childless cat lady." This is a phrase that you are going to hear in your dreams and your nightmares probably for many years to come.
All right, of course she has to drop the childless cat lady. It's going to be in your dreams and in your nightmares for many years to come. And it's like, hey, Martha, this is why Donald Trump doesn't want to do a debate with you. Like, stop. Like, who cares?
That was completely unprofessional for a quote-unquote unbiased journalist.
Yeah. This is who they want her and Brett Baer to moderate a Fox News debate. Trump shut them down on Fox and Friends. I'll do it on Fox if they get somebody like Jesse. I'm not doing it with Martha. It's little jabs like that.
How do you speak to women voters who obviously they care about what she thinks?
Of course. Well, look, we admire Taylor Swift's music, but I don't think most Americans, whether they like her music or fans of hers or not, are going to be influenced by a billionaire celebrity who I think is fundamentally disconnected from the interests and the problems of most Americans.
Listen, I think he handled that great for two reasons. He didn't trash her. He didn't disrespect her music. He gave her a compliment. Love her music. Great music. The best. But the other point he makes is just as good. Listen, she is disconnected from everyday Americans. The inflation that we're feeling at the grocery store when we're trying to feed our kids, Taylor Swift is not going to deal with that. The inflation that we feel at the gas pump or on our electric bill or on our car insurance, that is not a worry of Taylor Swift. And he doubles down on it and he says, listen, Taylor Swift isn't going to be affected by a Kamala Harris economy.
Look, when grocery prices go up by 20%, it hurts most Americans. It doesn't hurt Taylor Swift. When housing prices become unaffordable, it doesn't affect Taylor Swift or any other billionaire. It does affect middle-class Americans all over our country. And so I think our pitch to women voters is very simple. Donald Trump delivered policies that lowered the prices of groceries, lowered the prices of housing, and most importantly, Donald Trump delivered public safety in our country.
Yeah, listen, you want to connect with female voters? Give them a safe neighborhood again. Let those stories of Laken Riley and Jocelyn Nungaray be just nightmares of the past and give some security. That's what people want. And we're not getting it under Harris. She's the border czar, and it's been wide open. And because of that, we're seeing chaos. Do you think the people in Springfield, Ohio feel safe driving a car when the Haitian migrants, by the numbers of 20,000, have come into the town, are just creating chaos and car accidents everywhere? No, you don't feel safe at all. But then Vance twists it, and he makes the safety discussion even more personal and humanizing.
I've got 3 little kids. I want my kids to grow up in a country where the neighborhoods are safe enough, the streets are safe enough for them to make mistakes and not have it take their life. You've got little kids who are doing drugs laced with fentanyl. 20 years ago, you smoke a joint, you get yelled at by your parents. Today, you smoke a joint, it's laced with fentanyl, and it might take a teenager's life. I don't want that for my family. I don't think most women want that for their neighborhoods and their families. And our argument is, elect Donald Trump, will redeliver the public safety that's been so lacking in this country the last 3 years.
Yeah, I think that the childless cat ladies, how do you speak to women? It's like, well, we promise them better prices in stores for their families and safety and security domestically here in America, because Biden and Harris haven't been able to do any of that. And I love the way he just nails that point. Taylor Swift isn't affected the way everyday Americans are on the ground. Taylor Swift cannot comprehend what's happening in Springfield, Ohio. She just can't. She just can't wrap her head around it. as she lives in her gated community and jet sets all over the world. It's not something that's going to be real to her. It's not. But it's real to millions of Americans. Very real. We're either losing our jobs to immigrants, or we're getting into a car accident, or we're losing our pets. It's chaotic. It's chaotic. Taylor Swift, I don't think the endorsement has really gained the steam online that they wanted it to. I don't think so at all. Meanwhile, we got guys like Elon Musk posting videos like this about Springfield, Ohio.
My father immigrated from Haiti to the United States in the late 60s as a teenager. And I want to talk about these recent comments about the Haitians in Springfield, Ohio. First, I want to say my father and I are now estranged, but I did know him in my very, very young years. And when he immigrated, he was one person, and they weren't sending, thousands of Haitians in one area.
20,000 to a town of 60,000.
He wasn't eating people's pets, and he didn't practice voodoo. But he did say that most of the island, the majority of the island, does practice voodoo. The reason they eat cats is for two reasons. Number one is survival. This is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. You can't just go to a food bank like you can here, or just go to McDonald's and get some free or cheap food.
Yeah, no, you can't. And we're not knocking anybody for doing what they need to do to survive in these third world countries. But Elon Musk posted this video, and it's important to listen to this woman when she's talking with this firsthand experience. Yeah, they eat cats in Haiti. Yes, they practice voodoo in Haiti.
Unless, of course, there's a Christian missionary there. People in the United States have a really hard time imagining that type of thing, but it is true. Second, they do animal sacrifices for their religion, voodoo. They make these animal sacrifices to these gods for different reasons. You can do your own research on this. Do I think voodoo is a demonic religion? Yes, I do. That doesn't mean that you hate these people. These people need prayer.
Amen. Listen, just because you're living your life the wrong way doesn't mean that you have to hate somebody for it. Pray for them. Like, we can help.
But you can't just take over all these people from another country and expect it to work. Now,
exactly.
Not to mention, it doesn't fix the problems of that country.
Exactly.
And there's more people left in Haiti that we can bring over. It's not racist to acknowledge that this is a problem. It's not racist to talk about these things that are happening.
Amen.
This is not just white Americans saying this is black Americans. You can look at the people in Springfield, Ohio saying that this is happening. Y'all just want to joke about Trump and say that he's crazy for saying that this is happening instead of actually checking at all to see if this is happening. You want to make jokes about these things. Well, what if it were happening to you and your community? And no, it's beyond eating their pets, even though that is bad enough.
Elon Musk posted that on Twitter about 5 hours ago. On X, if you prefer that. It's happening. It's real. I tend to joke about things because I think humor is a good way to bring in the truth, and it's also laughing to stop from crying. And I'm here for the memes. But this is a real problem that's happening. And if you talk to people on the ground, like many citizen journalists have, the locals in Springfield, Ohio are saying it's happening. And the human toll is insane. And it's only going to get worse. My friend Aaron sent me this video on Twitter. This guy talking to the city council in Springfield, Ohio, and he works with the homeless in Springfield, Ohio. That's what he does. And he says that landlords are kicking people out of their homes and replacing them with Haitians, and that the Biden-Harris government is paying them to do it.
You know, the homeless problem. I don't know of a single homeless Haitian in this town because they all got vouchers. But I can show you a whole bunch of people that have been displaced because I'm that guy. Rob, you know, for 25 years I've worked with the homeless in this community. You know, a lot of people don't know because I'm not the guy out there blowing the horn. Because it ain't about me. It's the Jesus in me that goes out there and does it.
Amen.
Trust me, there's days I'm tired. But I'll get into homeless camps that nobody in a suit and tie will walk into. None. They trust me because I've never let them down. And guys, if you don't think it's here right now, in October, we are getting ready to hit a wall here. There is not any relief for the homeless. The homeless people in this community are not the people you think they are. The squatters that aren't happening. It's not there. There's veterans. Come see me. I'm not real hard to find. Ask anybody on the street. They'll tell you how to get a hold of me.
I like this guy a lot. And it highlights the fact that the government is not putting American citizens first. Landlords are kicking people out to replace them with Haitians. The Biden-Harris government is paying them to do it. He goes on to say he personally knows someone who lived in a house for 7 years, and the landlord told them to leave under the guise of completing renovations, only to replace them with a Haitian and charge the government triple the rent.
I'll take you there. And no, they don't want your toothpaste and your peanut butter sandwiches. They want you to come up with a solution to why they're displaced, why they lived in a house. I personally know, and I'll testify under oath, my hand to God, somebody that lost their house. They were there 7 years. The landlord said, hey, I need you to move out, find a temporary place. I'm going to remodel it, and then you can come back. It was a lie. They moved him out, tripled the rent.
Thank you.
Follow the money.
Follow the money.
Thank you for speaking, as in stop talking about this.
Yeah, thank you for speaking. Move along, sir. We don't want to hear the uncomfortable realities of the situation that the government is doing to its own American citizens. It's crazy, man. But people don't want to talk about the human cost. They're gonna go on the TV and be like, Donald Trump is crazy. He said they're eating dogs. Whoa, he's so racist. But they're missing the entire context of the conversation that needs to be had. Sebastian in Nashville wants to talk about the reports in Ohio. Sebastian, thanks for holding, man. What's up?
Well, good morning. Yeah, double standards all around. We just keep saying that. Obviously we're preaching to the choir, but I'm here for the memes and for the sermon. But anyway, but the idea is that as much as they jump on Trump for being crazy for a new incident, the Democrats have been repeating for over hundreds and hundreds of years the same story. During drag queen story time on national news, they had a lady telling a story about this lady somewhere in Europe that was enticing little kids in her little, gingerbread house, and she was eating kids, and no one's ever come out and debunked that. And I really wish that they would do some investigation and find out the origin of that story and find out, is this really, really true? But they won't. They pointed us for saying someone's eating a cat versus someone's enticing little children in a gingerbread house to eat them.
Okay, I guess just repeat the gingerbread thing again. I kind of lost you there a little bit.
During drag queen story time.
Got you.
This lady on national news was reading a story to little kids about some lady.
Got you. I missed it. Yep. I'm picking up what you're putting down now. Yeah, man. I think
never debunked that story.
Yep. Hey, I appreciate the call, Sebastian. Thanks for holding as long as you did, man. Let's go to Steve in the borough. Steve, you're up next on Super Talk.
Hey, Chris, love your show, man. Love your truthfulness and humor you throw in with it.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
But, these animal cruelty in Springfield, if it was one of us Americans or any of us Americans doing this, we'd be brought up on charges, most likely put in prison for it for X amount of time.
Yep.
Do you think that this will happen with these Haitians? And also, if it does happen with them, do you think the Harris and Biden administration will intervene?
Do I think that it'll happen to the Asians? No. I don't think that they'll be put into jail for any of the things that they're doing. Like, why would they? That just won't happen. I've lost a lot of faith in the institutions in this country, and I think that the two-tiered society of American citizens versus the newcomers, as the Biden-Harris administration likes to call them, has been on full display now for years, and I have no confidence that any of them will ever be held accountable for any of the crimes that they commit at all. at all. No, I don't. And as sad as that is, and I appreciate your call, Steve. No, I don't have one piece of confidence that anybody will be held accountable for any of the crimes. Like, do I think a Haitian is going to be charged with, what we would be charged with if we killed a Canadian goose? Like, it's protected, right? Like, you get a big fine for doing something like that. Do I think a Haitian in Springfield, Ohio is going to face a fine like that? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. 2 tiers. It's a big club, and we're not in it. On the way, we got a couple more people that are waiting to get in on the calls, and I want to get in a little bit more on this debate that happened, the reaction that we're seeing. You should have heard what CNBC's Rick Santelli said about the moderators. He went off. And it's glorious to listen to. We'll do that next. It's 11:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We talk a lot about the Glock store here. It's the best place to buy a Glock. Every Glock is in stock. It's the best place to learn. That's where I train. Every session is a private lesson, and because it's the best place to shoot, too. They have private rooms, not public lanes. I'll never go back to a lane range after shooting at the Glock store. But now it is the best place to party as well. If you throw a party at the Glock store, please invite me, because these parties are fantastic. Whatever kind of party it is, birthday, retirement, corporate team building, they do it all. And you'll get a VIP room with a full kitchen, dedicated shooting rooms, your own instructors, shooting activities designed for every level. They'll include all the ammo, and they'll even include full auto options. Seriously, this is the party you need to throw. To get started, all you got to do is pick up the phone and give these guys a call. 615-682-6565. 615-682-6565. Tell them you want to throw a party, and they'll get you started. It's the Glock store, my place to shoot, everyone's place to party, minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Starting to feel the impacts of Tropical Storm Francine here in Middle Tennessee. And a Middle Tennessee high school updates the threat status that shut it down today, coming up at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken. It's 11:26 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and my self-control has been so high today. I have not said it's going to be raining cats and dogs once. Sorry.
That's the way to go, Brother Chris.
I'm really trying. I'm trying.
I'm sorry. I missed the first part of what you said there. My camera is apparently off, and the only thing people are seeing is the top of my head.
Oh, jeez. No, I said I've had self-control today, and I haven't said it's going to be raining cats and dogs.
Did Dan have that same control this morning?
No, we've just been talking a lot about cats and dogs.
Yeah.
It's honestly, this week is just cats and dog conversation.
It's a wild conversation that needs to be had, and I'm happy to have it.
Well, granted, Trump did elevate that to another level.
Yeah, he sure did. He sure did. Donald Trump at the debate 2 days ago now. Gosh, it feels like it's been a lot longer. But at the debate, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat.
That's a new TikTok trend. Kids are dancing to that jam.
Are you going to go, when you drive home today, are you going to blast that out of your car?
No.
You did that to a poor FedEx guy, I think, just to make amends.
He was a post office worker.
A post office worker.
Yeah, if anecdotally speaking, we're the number one show for post office workers in Middle Tennessee, and
that poor guy.
We had a guy text in earlier and said that when I played that, he was pulling up to a mailbox, and there was a few elderly people nearby, and he had his radio turned all the way up, and what he heard was,
"They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats."
Oh my gosh! Can you imagine just walking, just not just him, just a pedestrian just walking their dog, all of a sudden you just hear that bling, and like,
"They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats."
Imagine that.
Oh. Dog looks out to him like, is that a threat?
Dude, I watched so many of these videos last night. There's the other trend going on is people are using the actual audio from the debate, and they're filming their cat or their dog listening to it. So you have like a dog shaking or like a cat looking scared, and and people are posting that on the internet. I was watching those a bunch last night, and my wife's like, "What are you doing?" It's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm doing show prep.
This is my job.
It's like, how many of those videos do you need to watch? I said, I need to watch all of them. All of them.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
John in Spring Hill, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, John?
Hello, Chris. I like your show. You do a fine job. I've got a question, and nobody's ever really answered this for me. Illegal aliens, okay, that come across the border, be it Haitians or anybody else, okay, Venezuelans, whatever the case. These people are illegal, correct?
Yes, sir.
Are they not breaking the law?
Well, so if they cross the border, they're illegal, but there's also like this quasi-legal status, this temporary protected status that a lot of them are getting via the parole pipeline, the CHNV parole pipeline that they had to shut down for a while because of rampant fraud, but is back up and running, which is where we're getting a lot of these Haitian migrants in Ohio from.
Oh, okay. So in other words, we're aiding and abetting these illegal aliens.
I think you hit the nail on the head, John.
By virtue of a technicality called the Democrat side of the view.
Yep, absolutely. John, they don't call them illegal aliens or quasi-illegal. They call them newcomers. It's 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and waves of rain from what was Hurricane Francine have made their way into parts of Middle Tennessee. Channel 4's Dan Thomas tracking it for us.
We're going to watch these little downpours that develop through the day into tonight and into tomorrow. There could be a little rotation with them in potentially a weak but quick spin-up tornado. We can't rule that out.
Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Louisiana, Thibodaux Mayor Kevin Clennett telling ABC News they're still in the assessment phase of damage from Francine. Says while it doesn't rival Hurricane Ida back in 2021, they still have some damage, mainly from the larger than expected rainfall.
Francine seemed to have a little bit more water than Ida. The winds were a little bit heavier than Ida. It just didn't last as long.
You're going to want to check with your airline before heading to the airport due to cancellation and delays out of New Orleans. Here in Tennessee, Cannon County Schools posting to their Facebook page that the high school will be open tomorrow. Tonight's football game will be played as scheduled. Classes there at Cannon County High School had to be canceled today due to online threats that have since been determined not to be credible. Here in Nashville, a man drowned after jumping off a boat near Elm Hill Marina. Channel 4's Joylyn Bukovac says friends of the man say he told them he needed to use the restroom, then jumped into Percy Priest Lake, never resurfaced.
Multiple agencies, including Metro Police, the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, and Nashville Fire responded to the call. We're told the man was out on a pontoon boat with a group of friends late last night, and he was not wearing a life jacket at the time.
Friends of the man say he was a good swimmer. They're not sure what went wrong. Disgraced movie mogul Harvey Weinstein faces new criminal charges in New York after his previous conviction was overturned earlier this year. Aaron Katursky.
When the judge asked for an update on the case, prosecutors revealed that they had secured a new indictment. And while we don't know the exact charges, we know that prosecutors had presented evidence of 3 alleged sexual assaults by 3 different women, varying time periods over the last couple of decades. And those look like they could form the basis of these new charges.
That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionality, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
$11:36 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. We've been talking a lot about Ohio, which is really stemmed from the debate and Donald Trump saying, they're eating the dogs and they're eating the cats. I actually just I just saw a tweet from Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk runs Turning Point USA. I'm gonna retweet it for you. I can't play it on the air because there's a lot of graphic language, but honestly, it does make me feel bad. This poor woman is just having a breakdown. She's crying, and she's saying none of this. This woman lives in Springfield, Ohio. She's saying none of this is funny. I don't feel safe anymore. They're really out here decapitating animals, and y'all are making jokes out of it. I do. I feel bad for what they're going through in Springfield, Ohio. If you want to see that video, I just retweeted it on my page at Chris Hand on Air. This is something that the mainstream media is going to run away from. They don't want to have these conversations because these conversations expose what Biden and Harris have been doing with the border, with the migration crisis, expose how they've been putting American citizens last, and that is uncomfortable for them. It's an uncomfortable reality. But it's a reality that they need to face nonetheless. There are some Democrats paying attention to the reality of the situation. One of them, surprisingly enough, is Tim Kaine. Tim Kaine was was going to be the VP for Hillary Clinton had they won that election in 2016. And Tim Kaine was asked about how he feels about the upcoming election.
I'm very concerned, and I tell people all the time, somebody asked me in Chicago, what'd you learn from 2016? And I said, you can't win by a little, you got to win by a lot.
How do you feel about the election? He says, I'm very, very concerned. I'm very concerned. It's not a good sign for people in the Democrat Party. He is very concerned about the election. I think he should be. These stories aren't going to go away that we're seeing coming out of Springfield, Ohio. The media can only lie for so long, right? And luckily, we have a platform like Twitter, like X, that lets us share this information freely, and a guy like Elon Musk who's sharing it himself. Because otherwise, we'd probably be getting banned for posting this stuff. This was 2020, and we were posting about the Haitians decapitating geese and eating pets in Springfield, Ohio. Well, we would probably be shut down and banned for racism or bullying or harassment, any of the rando things that they used to ban people for. But it's not, and it's actually changing the dynamic of the election, 100%. The dynamic is changing because we have a free speech platform like Twitter. It is. And if we didn't, we'd be stuck with what we were stuck with during the ABC debate. Moderators that are just fact-checking Trump and lying and letting Kamala Harris lie. That's what we had. CNBC's Rick Santelli, he went off the other day about the ABC moderators, about the tariffs, and about what we learned last night, or not last night, but 2 nights ago from the debate.
Let me just ask then, since we're on the topic, Rick, how you feel about tariffs?
You know how I feel about tariffs? It's a bargaining chip. And many of the tariffs with China are still on. Once again, the moderators don't drill down on the two aspects of tariffs, but they do drill down on other areas that make no economic sense whatsoever.
But you don't think the tariffs raise prices? Just as a mathematical economic...
Listen, prices are going up no matter what, Andrew. Whether you do it on the tax side, whether you do it on the tariff side, our policies are silly. We can't be Santa Claus. All those programs aren't policies, they're promises.
I love that. We can't be Santa Claus. All of those promises are programs, not policies.
That never get by Congress, and each one of them has a cost we can't afford.
We can't afford any. We're $35 trillion in debt. They'll whisper sweet nothings, and they'll bring us promises, and they'll bring us all these fantasies, but they can't deliver on it. We can't afford it.
Because we've done this before. When you prepay and you make policies that don't make economic sense, you may think you're getting a benefit. Look at what we learned yesterday. Finally, wages reach 2019, but it doesn't reflect how much they've gone up since 2019.
Right.
If you're out there and you're a young person, study up. Study up. All these superstars that made recommendations in such a timely fashion yesterday.
He's talking about Taylor Swift.
You know, maybe they don't feel the pain of what's going on, but I feel bad that they can't buy houses and insurance. You think these prices of insurance are going to go down, Andrew? You think people in Florida that could barely hold on to their homes could afford 300% increases in their insurance?
I talked to a guy the other day who recently moved to Tennessee from Florida, and he said that the insurance prices were really just going through the roof, and it was becoming unaffordable to live there. And he made the comment that it was because of hurricanes, and the hurricanes have been getting worse. And I went, well, that's quite the take. Tell me who you're voting for without telling me who you're voting for. But the real reason these insurance prices are going up is the inflation from the Biden-Harris administration. Your insurance prices are going up. My insurance prices are going up. Very little to do with climate change. A lot to do with economic policy.
There is no question about that. It's a very true statement.
Right, so why don't we talk about it? Why don't we talk about it?
Seriously. Can we have the conversation? Can we have the conversation? Will the mainstream media ever be willing to have this conversation? No.
Well, then there's other issues around climate issues and other things that are affecting things in Florida.
What issues did you learn last night? The ABC people were like a turkey shoot.
Wow, he went to climate change so fast.
You like that?
That was like it's like Olympic record time.
I think it's like a built-in excuse down there for lefties. It's like,
there's a chip in the brain that just says, whenever you don't like the conversation, go climate change.
Our insurance is going up because hurricanes are obviously getting stronger because of climate change. Get out of here with that. I don't buy into that. It was global warming, global cooling. Now it's just climate change. I love what he said at the end, though, about the moderators.
The ABC people were like a turkey shoot.
Yeah, 3 on 1. 3 on 1. Listen, I can't wait to see what the polls look like in 2 weeks. Because I truly feel like the Democrats have no ammo left. Nothing. What do they have to sell to the American public now? They wasted the Taylor Swift endorsement the night after the debate. The night of the debate, excuse me. And I truly believe that's because they think that she did terrible during the debate and they were trying to dominate the online conversation. I mean, you have Democrats out there that will openly admit on CNN that the economy is awful. Senator LaFonza Butler was on. She's from California. She was on with Wolf Blitzer. And she's like, oh, yeah, Wolf, the economy sucks, man.
Look, Wolf, the reality is, and the vice president has acknowledged, working families out there are hurting. The price gouging and increased cost of housing.
The price gouging. It's the price. It's the price gouging.
And prescription drugs truly are hurting the American people and working families all across this country.
But Kamala Harris has had 3.5 years to fix it. Don't ask her to fix it. She's going to save that for day one, right? That was one of the most powerful moments at the debate when Donald Trump said, we could stop right now. You can go to the White House and wake up Joe and shut the border down right now. All of these promises that you're making the American public, Kamala, all of these promises that you're making, you could fix right now, but you won't. And it's because you don't want to. All of this destruction of America, I'm convinced, is by design. Convinced. Even like a town like in Ohio, you think about Springfield, Ohio. Who do you think Springfield, Ohio was going to vote for? I'd be willing to bet Trump. I'd be willing to bet Trump. And in a town of 60,000, you import 20,000 new voters, and you give them a bunch of free stuff, and you say it's courtesy of the Biden-Harris administration. Ooh, which way do you think they're going to vote in the upcoming election should they gain citizenship status? That's all this is about. We're importing new voters. We're importing new voters. But Taylor Swift. Yeah. Taylor Swift doesn't feel the pain that we feel at the gas pump in the grocery store. I tell you what, though, there are artists out there like Taylor Swift who are just disconnected. She's got too much money. I don't knock her for having the money, but she just doesn't understand what we go through at the grocery store. But then there's other artists that are actually tuned in. Joy Behar on The View yesterday was trying to sucker Usher into endorsing Harris. Did you see that?
I did see that. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
So she's like, oh, you got this responsibility with your platform. You got it. It's so dangerous out here. You got to endorse Harris.
In this emergency that we're in, I think that behooves artists to come out and speak for Kamala.
I love how she says this emergency we're in. What?
Yeah, emergency. How's that to say?
See, it's so crazy. She thinks that the emergency is Donald Trump and the threat to democracy. We seem to think that the emergency is the sky-high prices, wide-open southern border, global instability, all of the wars that have been popping off under Biden-Harris. We think that the emergency is 20,000 Haitian migrants being dropped off in a town of 60,000 in Springfield, Ohio. That to me feels like an emergency, but they go full orange man bad. I will say this, Usher doesn't take the bait.
Against Donald Trump, because he is an existential threat to the country. What do you say to that?
You know what? I don't get too deep into politics. I didn't get a chance to watch the debate last night. I obviously have been watching like everybody else. I think voting is an individual choice. And I think that you're right. You have to look at the reality of the country that we are and the country that we want to be and find the candidate that you feel both who fits the category of where we want to be. And that's it. And that's what you vote based off of. Who you highlight and how you choose to highlight it on whatever platform you have is your prerogative.
Yes. Yeah. Beautiful.
I love it. Right at the end, he just shrugs his shoulders. Like, I'm not endorsing Kamala Harris.
That was a perfect answer.
Tell me you're voting Trump without telling me you're voting Trump, Usher. Also, just come out and say you're voting Trump at this point, right? Like, it's not as demonized as it was in 2020 or 2016, back when Kanye was the first guy to put on a MAGA hat, when it was like, whoa. It's like nowadays, like a lot of people are voting for Trump. A lot. Openly. I think that's the big difference. They voted for Trump before, but now they're unafraid to say they're voting for Trump. I think Usher should have just said it. Although their heads would have just collectively exploded and he would have been charged with murder over it. It's 11:48 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Remnants of Hurricane Francine are in Middle Tennessee as we speak, and Wilson County authorities are not playing around when it comes to kids making threats against schools. We'll tell you what's going on there at noon on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It's 11:55 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. This is a gang of amigos here. We got Weaves,
Holy
we got
moly.
Murphy, we got KJB.
Hey, no, wait a minute now. I don't know that I'm worthy of being included in any sort of amigo gang.
What's up, Murphy?
What's going on, everybody?
How we doing today?
I'm good. It's Thursday. Feels like Friday. It's been a long week. We had I don't know if anybody noticed, but there was a debate earlier this week. I don't know if anybody saw that.
No.
And then 9/11 was yesterday, which I didn't talk a lot about on the show. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it today because I like to talk about 9/12 and beyond, and we'll do a little bit of that. And anyway, yeah.
Let me ask you a question because I posed this question on the air yesterday. Could you imagine telling somebody on September 12th, 2001, that in less than 25 years, we'd have a wide open southern border with terror watch list suspects pouring over?
No, I couldn't imagine that. But I mean, it is what obviously people's memories fade, the wounds heal, and they forget about the tragedy of the day. I spent like 4 hours last night. Way too much time. I stayed up way too late watching some of the documentaries regarding 9/11, and it does drive that point home that we were so unified in our understanding of what was happening in the aftermath of 9/11, in the days and weeks that followed, that it seemed like our country was singularly purposed.
Yep.
And sadly, politicians got involved.
Do you think, and it's crazy because it does feel like this could happen any day because of the wide open southern border. Do you think that we would be a unified front if something like that happened again?
No.
Or is this country too divided?
No, I don't know. I don't know what. I think an attack on our soil, I think boots on the ground on our soil might be the only thing, and I don't even know that would do it.
No, half the crowd would be yelling false flag.
Right. All right. I mean, in the modern era, there's so much that lends itself to call it conspiracy theories or just theories or a belief that there are other underhanded individuals attempting to manipulate situations. There's more suspicion and conspiracy involving everyday politics than in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I think.
But I think that,
and COVID lent to it,
and the mainstream media leans into it. Like when you hear them going, "There's no evidence of any of this stuff in Springfield,
Right.
Ohio."
Right.
We talked to the city manager,
right?
But did you talk to the residents?
What have you watched any of the videos? What about the videos? Have you watched the people? Have you watched the cop addressing the woman and putting her?
Show me your teeth.
Right, and then their refuge is, well, she wasn't Haitian. Okay, so we've moved the goalpost and we now accept that she was potentially eating a cat, but now you're going to argue her country of origin. It's very frustrating. But yeah, I mean, it's just been a hell of a week.
It has been a hell of a week. What do you got coming up on the show today?
We'll reflect a little bit on September 12th, 2001. We'll talk a little more about the debate aftermath. I've got a few more things to say about Tyreek Hill.
He wants the cop fired. How about just do a normal traffic stop?
Here's the weird thing. Like, he announced he wanted the cop fired, and then he came out and did a press conference and accepted. I mean, it was weak, but he was like, yeah, I could have done some things differently. Well, yeah, you think? I mean, the message that he is sending to young black males is exactly the wrong message, and we're going to discuss that today.
And I'm tired of athletes being put on a higher pedestal than police officers. I didn't know that Tyreek Hill could be, die during a football game at the same rate that a police officer can die during his shift.
Well, and that's the thing, is that the police officers have to come into each one of these traffic stops with the possibility that they could die. And no one seems to have any respect for that. So we're going to discuss that. We'll lead off with it.
I'm looking forward to that. Murphy's up next. We got a lot more Super Talk today. Murphy followed by Wilson. And you can keep up with me off the air at Chris Hand on air on Twitter, True Social, and Instagram. Murphy's up next. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.